I'd now like to introduce Amaan to speak.
Right, can everyone hear me? Everyone at the back, can you hear me? Okay. 20th of January 2024. 24,762 killed in Gaza. 62,108 injured. There will be many more missing and stuck under the rubble. There will be many more who will end up dying from their injuries, lack of medical treatment, from infections, from the freezing cold, dehydration, and falling buildings. We all know very well what the Israeli state has been doing for a very long time, and not since just the October the 7th. The constant bombardments, airstrikes, destroying 35 hospitals, residentials, graveyards, mass shootings, mass displacement, deliberate starvation, humiliation, torture and abuse of all forms by the Israeli occupying forces. We've been watching everything live from our phone for the last 103 days. Yet here we are, seeing people on TV, online, debate whether a genocide is occurring or not, arguing about what to call this. No amount of graphic footage or imagery, images of corpses, perpetrators clearly shown on camera, warnings from human rights organizations can ever be enough for those who don't want to see or turn away from these horrors. We are seeing people denied a genocide is even occurring. We are still being asked to condemn. Condemn who? I want to ask, are you going to condemn Israel for its 56-year military occupation of Palestine? Are you going to condemn Israel for Nakba 1948 and Nakba 1967? Are you going to condemn Israel for the mass expulsion of Palestinians, displacing them and driving them out of their homes? Who is going to condemn Israel for ethnically cleansing towns, villages, carrying out massacres and demolishing 500 villages? Who is going to condemn Israel for wiping Palestine off the map, changing the names of the roads and cities and denying the existence of a Palestinian state and people altogether? Who is going to condemn Israel for treating Palestinians as second-class citizens in their own native land? Who is going to condemn Israel for having over 65 discriminatory laws against Palestinians, impacting every single area of their life and subjecting them to military rule? Who is going to condemn Israel for its daily harassment and imprisonment of Palestinians in the West Bank, making them go through checkpoints, bypass roads, separation wall, unlawful killings? Who is going to condemn this apartheid state? Who is going to condemn Israel for bulldozing Palestinian homes and building illegal settlements? Who is going to condemn Israel for its catchy slogan, "It will make the desert bloom," and for its green colonialism, greenwashing crimes and settler colonialist projects? Who is going to condemn Israel for all the heinous crimes it commits against Palestinians, documented and undocumented? Who is going to condemn the Israeli troops who are responsible for harvesting the organs of Palestinians who have died in their custody? Who is going to condemn Israel for practicing medical apartheid and necro-violence? Who is going to condemn Israel for its total impunity and systematic targeting towards Palestinian children, being the only country in the world that prosecutes children? Who is going to condemn Israel for unjustly holding Palestinians in Israeli jails? Who is going to condemn Israel for being a recipient of $3.8 billion worth of military aid from America every year? Who is going to condemn Israel for its propaganda machine, the false statistics and misinformation they spread? Who is going to condemn Israel for its digital surveillance regime against Palestinians? The 16-year siege on Gaza, imposing a land, sea, air blockade with barely any freedom of movement. Who is going to condemn Israel for its well-documented countless air bombardments on Gaza over the years? One of the most densely populated areas where half the population are children. For Operation Summer Rains, the Gaza Beach explosion, Operation Autumn Clouds, Operation Hot Winter, Operation Cast Lead, Operation Flotilla Raid, Operation Returning Echo and Pillar of Defense, Operation Protective Edge and Breaking Dawn. Who is going to target Israel? Who is going to condemn Israel for targeting poets, journalists, doctors, engineers, musicians, artists, scientists, teachers, aid workers, children? Israel has killed more than 10,000 children in Gaza, and its women and children are reported in mainstream media outlets because Palestinian men are not worthy of being victims, are they? Who is going to condemn Israel for the hell on earth it has created for Palestinians in the last 75 years? 105 days now into this genocide, everyone, and IOF soldiers are filming themselves committing these atrocities. They barge into the decimated schools of Gaza, recording themselves that we will teach Hebrew here. They enter the dead homes of Gazans. You lie in children's beds, rummaging through women's personal drawers, playing on the bikes of dead Gazan children. You cook meals in their kitchen whilst openly displaying your derangement and lunacy. Do people really expect Palestine to be completely wiped off the map and its people violently scattered and besieged without any scrutiny of the ideology behind that violence, Zionism? I just want to end my speech by saying that a genocide doesn't end when bombings and shelling stop. A genocide doesn't end with a ceasefire. Whenever there is an airstrike or a bombing, this creates a toxic biosphere with lasting effects. A genocide doesn't end when the shelling stops. People who participate in post-war fear research have confirmed the presence of depleted uranium, asbestos dust, and deadly products from the oxidation of white phosphorus. Historically, every assault on Gaza is followed by a spike in cancer rates. Any reality besides one of liberation for the people of Gaza means tens of thousands of slow deaths that will directly trace back to this genocide. And now just imagine the number of injured children with bodies that will grow into their injuries, a lifetime of surgeries that they will need and can't afford or have the access to healthcare for. The horrific burns from incendiary weapons that require painful treatment and are battle tested on Palestinians. Our governments are responsible for this. Our governments are supporting this genocide. Our governments are funding this genocide and arming Israel. Britain has flown 50 spy missions over Gaza in support of Israel. Look up this information online on Declassified UK. Between May 2015 and August 2022, the UK licensed over £442 million worth of arms to Israel. This is on the government website. Lastly, as the people here in the diaspora and the people here in the West, with our governments that are complicit, we have a moral and ethical duty to hold our governments, our politicians, and companies profiting from this genocide accountable, shutting down every single one of these disgusting weapons factories. It's not just a ceasefire we should be pushing for, but an end to the siege, an end to the illegal occupation and colonization of Palestine. Ceasefire now, cease land grabs, cease settlements, cease abduction, cease torture, cease starvation, humiliation, cease accusations, cease apartheid, cease injustice, and cease funding and supplying of arms to Israel.
Thank you very much. It's a nightmare when somebody has to stand up and document that whole horror that is happening. But what she said about genocide, it doesn't stop, but it didn't just start either. It's been going on in Palestine for the last 75 years. This is what an Israeli colonial settler state is made for genocide. And that is what has been happening since Israel was formed. So don't let's forget that.